Hello, travel agents, and welcome back to another travel agent training video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Zara A. I am the CEO and regional trainer for Zora's Travel Bliss LLC. If you are interested in becoming a travel agent with us, please visit zorastravelbliss.info. You can also shop with us. We offer skincare products, body butters, turmeric butters, room spray candles, beard oils, and handmade soaps, sugar scrubs, and that and this information can also be found on zorastravelist.info. All right, let's go ahead and hop into today's training webinar. It'll be coming from TravelJoy. This will also be presented by TravelJoy. Let's go ahead and get started.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Excited for this activity. We'll say fun shopping with local artists and vendors. All right. And if you wanted to add a YouTube video to this description to kind of make things a little bit more fun as well, you can do so by clicking on this link here. It'll have you input the URL to the YouTube video you'd like to share with your clients, and it will embed it within that item description. You can add your pricing here for the item and then add a few photos. I have a few photos in my computer that I think will work best for this, so I'm going to select those now. You won't see this portion just because our live stream platform doesn't show my selection process here, but these photos just came from my computer. They're all uploaded. And then if you had any documents like tickets to share with your client, you could add those here and they'd be able to access that either through their PC, their mobile device, or our app. And as a reminder, if you do have questions, please be sure to place them in the questions tab that is just below the chat box. We will not be able to answer questions in the chat box, and we want to make sure that your questions are answered, so please be sure to get them in the questions tab. Alrighty, so we've added our farmer's market item, but let's say that we have a lot of clients that go to Palm Springs and we send a lot of them to the farmer's markets, and we don't want to have to create this item every single time. We can do so by adding to our library, which is accessible on both our proposals and itineraries across our account. So you can add to your library by heading to the top of the item and selecting Add to Library here. We'll get a nice little congratulatory banner in the bottom left. The library is accessible using this library button. This is going to be available on all of your itineraries and your smart proposals. As you can see, I have library items that are already added to my library, so I could use these to build out the rest of my smart proposal as they are all in Palm Springs. I can drag and drop them where I want them to go, or I can add them to the bottom of the list and drag them up. It'll be up to you, whatever you prefer. Do golf day. So remember I said I was sending Jane to golf? There it is. We'll use our card at the airport, and so on and so forth. So I just built out an entire smart proposal using my library. We also have this down here. This is our magic importer tool. So if you had an invoice or an itinerary from your supplier and you wanted to be able to kind of bring in that information for flights, cruises, hotels, and activities, you'd be able to do so by dragging and dropping a PDF file or a file for those items, and it'd be able to match it within our database and bring in all of the applicable items. So highly recommend checking out our magic importer tool. I will go ahead and post that in the chat now. All right, so now that our smart proposal is all built out, we're going to share it with Jane. And we can do that by heading to the top right-hand corner of the screen and selecting Share Proposal. I'm going to send. And again, like I mentioned when we were sending our form, you're going to be able to customize the email message that's going to accompany the proposal. So if we wanted to change the email template, we could do so using the drop-down here. And we can add attachments in the bottom left if needed. But once we're happy with our message, use that blue send button, and away it goes. All right. So our message has been sent. We can see that proposal in the trip message feed. And if we head to Jane's email inbox, she has received that proposal. And she's going to be prompted to view the trip proposal. And here we have it. So we have our beautiful golf course photo here. At the top right, Jane's going to have a few options here. She's going to be able to take this proposal with her on the go using our Itineraries by TravelJoy app. She can share the proposal, download the proposal, ask a question, which is going to take her right back to her trip message feed with you, and last but not least, approve the proposal. All right, if we keep scrolling down, we'll see the body of the proposal. On the left-hand side, this is a clickable overview. So if your client needs to go to any specific part of the proposal, they can do so just by clicking on it here, or they can scroll on through and see the beautiful items we've added. So there's our hotel, there's our farmer's market that we added together, our golf day, and our car to the airport. So let's say Jane says, absolutely, let's book this trip. She's going to head to the top right-hand corner of the screen, approve the proposal. She's going to get a thank you message that appears, again, completely customizable underneath your confirmations templates. And if we head back to our trip message feed, you're going to get a message letting you know that the proposal has been approved and has been turned into an itinerary because it has been approved. So we can see this over here at the bottom right. We have our itinerary and our link to it here, but don't worry, you can still make changes to it, edit it. But now it is an itinerary because your client has approved it. You can also get back to your itinerary by heading to the Trip Files tab and locating it underneath the Proposals and Itineraries portion. All right. So we just went through creating our very first trip, sending a form, and creating and sending a smart proposal. We've gone over so much, and I know we're moving quickly, and I appreciate you kind of keeping up with me. It will continue to move quickly from here, but as a reminder, you will get a recording of this event after the session concludes. It'll come by email about 5 minutes after we finish. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk a bit about groups now, and I head to my dashboard. Now, I want you to think of trips in TravelJoy as a file folder. So everything from start to finish with that client on that individual trip will be in that file folder. But when you have multiple trips headed to the same location, think weddings, family reunions, cruises, you likely have a group of clients. So you can think of a group as a filing cabinet. Now, we create a group by heading to the pink Create button at the top left-hand corner of the screen and selecting group from the options that appear. Now we typically know where our group is headed, and this group is heading to New Zealand. They'll be heading out towards the end of summer, let's say August. And the destination will be New Zealand. Not quite sure on the exact city yet. Maybe off. They'll go ahead and create that group, or actually, let's choose a photo first before we do that. Let's find a beautiful photo of New Zealand. Kind of hard not to find a beautiful photo of New Zealand. I love this one. Beautiful. All right. So now that we have our photo in place, all of our trip details, let's go ahead and create our group. The bottom right. and our group has been created. Now, the thing to note about this is there are no trips associated with this group as of yet. So how do we add trips? Well, you can do so manually by heading to the top left and using that Add Trip to Group button just to the right of the All Travelers tab. And this should look very familiar. This is what we went through when we created our trip in the beginning of the webinar for Jane. I'm also going to be sending Jane on this trip as well. And all we need to do is select our primary traveler, or we can create a new traveler if they're not in our client list, and use the blue Create Trip button. A drop-down menu has appeared, and this will allow us to navigate between trips within our group, so it's an excellent organizational system. And from here, I'm probably going to need to send Jane a form. I'm going to need to create an invoice for her, maybe a proposal, a lot of manual work. And if you have anywhere from 5 to 200 people joining your group, you probably don't want to do that for everyone. So we do have a wonderful tool called Group Booking Pages, which will allow you to build a standalone web page with a unique URL that you can share with your clients. That'll give them details about the trip, allow them to fill out any forms that you need them to fill out, choose their packages that they're interested in, add on any extra options, and then they're going to be able to pay their deposit or the full payment of the trip right then and there. Everything's going to get wrapped in a nice little bow and deposited into your group for you, taking a ton of work off your plate and streamlining your workflow seamlessly. So how do we create a group booking page? Well, we're going to head up to the All Travelers tab just to the left of that drop-down menu. And then we're going to head to the blue Create button, very similar to within our trip. And we're going to be selecting for today's demonstration the group booking page supplier option. Now, we'll talk a little bit about the difference between supplier and direct as we see here. But supplier just refers to a credit card authorization. So we are only collecting credit card details from our clients, not charging them right then and there in the moment. And then we'll be able to access those credit card details securely and use them to pay our supplier for the trip. Once we select this option, the group booking page will open up. I just need to take a quick sip of water, if that's all right. It's a lot of talking for an hour, so I need to take breaks every once in a while, remind myself to hydrate. So we are looking at our group booking page editor. This first tab is our description tab over here on the left-hand side. We can give our group booking page a name, so we can say New Zealand, here we come. Now the details down here, this is just a kind of guideline. So if you'd like to use this to input your details about the trip, get your clients excited about it, you absolutely can. If you want to start fresh, you can delete this, totally up to you. You can add photos or videos to this group booking page just by placing your cursor where you want that photo or video to go, and then using the photo or video icons over here on the right-hand side. So if we are going to add a photo, we'll choose that photo icon. You can put in the URL for your photo or upload it from your device, which I'm going to do now. So give me just a few moments. That photo is going to come in. I'm going to save it. It's going to place it there. Now, if you want to resize the photo, it's a little large here. Just use the blue squares in the corners to drag it a little bit smaller to your desired size. Perfect. If you wanted to add a video, place your cursor where you want that video to go and use the play button just to the right of the image button to place a YouTube or Vimeo video in this source box. So I already have one ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and copy the URL and place it here. Save it. And there's our video. So now I have a fun little video to look at. Again, we can't spend too much time building this out. It just gives you an idea of what you can do with it. But we're going to move on to our pricing section, which is the second tab over here on the left-hand side. Now, first and foremost, we have traveler limits. Now, this does not apply to your group as a whole. So there is no limit on how many people can book your group. This applies to rooms and cabins. So we typically don't see more than 10 people book a room or cabin. So we have that limit set at 10. But again, there is no cap for the amount of people that can book your group. You set those controls within your packages. So I'll show you what I mean in just a little bit. Underneath booking options, we have 3 here at TravelJoy. So the very first one is travelers share the same dates. Everyone will on the same date and departing on the same date. The second is travelers can book between 2 dates. So really great for things like weddings or family reunions where one party might be getting in on Thursday and leaving on Sunday, or another party might be getting in on Friday and leaving on Tuesday. You can set the date range for them to book through, the minimum night stay, and the maximum night stay. The last option that we have is travelers can book specific dates I set. So if you have multiple date ranges for your clients to choose from, you can set them here. All right. Packages are going to be your rooms or cabins. If we click on Add Package, we'll be able to add the details here. We'll say for this one, it's Queen Suite. Now we can copy and paste images in here of the actual hotel or accommodation if we'd like to. We can say things like the amenities, free gym access, free breakfast, city views, ocean views, all the fun stuff. Ooh, let's make sure free is correct. There we go. And if we wanted to keep track of our inventory, let's say that we have a certain amount of these packages agreed upon with our supplier, and we want to make sure that we don't oversell those packages, you can use the quantity limited checkbox and keep track of it. So again, you're in complete control over how many packages can be purchased. You can leave this unchecked if it is unlimited, but totally up to you. Our available until date, how long our clients have to book this package. So we'll say since we're leaving in August, they have until June 1st. Pricing is going to be per person, and we do offer up to quadruple occupancy. So we'll say for the first person, it's $1,200. And then for the second person, we'll say it's $1,100 for double occupancy. And so on and so forth. So again, we offer up to quadruple occupancy using this link here. You can add a child rate if you need to your group booking page, and your deposit is mandatory. You do have to use this to utilize a group booking page, and it can be made for either per person or per room. So if we said something like $500 per person or per room, and then our final payment due date is going to allow us to create that invoice. So we have to set that after the available until date, so it has to be after June 1st, and we'll say their final payment due date will be July 17th. Time. At the bottom of the screen, we have our payment details. This gives us a little bit of information about the invoice that will be generated. Our payment method is supplier, meaning we are only collecting credit card authorizations from our clients, and then we can use those credit card details to then pay our suppliers. We can offer a monthly payment schedule, choose the thank you message that appears after our client's book, choose the terms and conditions that they'll be agreeing to when they book, and offer Fay travel insurance. Fay travel insurance is available on all group booking pages and invoices if you'd like. And if you want to know a little bit more about Fay, we have a great guide that I'll share in the chat. All right. So now that we have done the pricing portion, we've got one more tab to go. That's our traveler info tab. This is going to allow us to choose the forms we want our clients to fill out. So we can choose our primary traveler's form, and we can choose a different traveler form for additional travelers if we want to. So if your primary traveler indicates that they're traveling with more than one person, maybe those are minors, you could have a different form for them to fill out if you don't need all the same information. You can also leave the forms exactly the same, totally up to you. And task lists we won't talk about during today's webinar because it is a more advanced feature, but if you are interested in learning more, I'll be showing you our help center in just a bit, and I will show you how to search for our guides on task list creation. Once all the details are in place and you're happy with them, you can go ahead and publish up here at the top right-hand corner of the screen. This is going to generate a unique link that you can now share with your clients. If you click on it, it's going to open up that group booking page. There's that photo we added, that video, and we can see our packages and our extra options. Now you're only able to view extra options right now until you pick your package. So we'll head to the Book Now button next to our Queen Suite. We'll select the number of travelers we have on this next page, and I want you to pay attention to this right-hand side, because as I change the number of travelers, we're going to see the occupancy rate at play. So it'll change based on how many we indicate we have. They can also add on their extra options here. So if they wanted to add on that guided hike, they would just click that checkbox there. It'd add it to their total. And then once they're happy with their selection, they'll continue to traveler info to fill out the forms that you need filled out. So I'm going to send myself on this trip because it sounds pretty fun. And I'm not going to fill out the entirety of this form again for the sake of time. Oh, let's see, gmail.com. There we go. But again, you can customize your forms to make any of these questions required so that your clients cannot skip them. Once we have filled out our form, let's pretend we've done it in entirety. We're going to continue to our payment section, which is using this button here, continue to payment. We're going to be able to choose if we want to authorize a deposit or authorize the full amount. Add our credit card, which happens to be the most exciting part of the webinar, where you get to watch me put in a fake credit card. Doesn't get more exciting than this, I promise. Actually, it does get more exciting. We'll go over the promo code, and that's pretty exciting. So I may have lied to you. This is definitely not the most exciting part of the webinar. Let's say main. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Save that credit card in place. And then we're going to sign and agree to our terms and conditions. As a reminder, your terms and conditions are completely customizable underneath your terms and conditions templates. So as you can see, this is not all encompassing. So I highly recommend getting your terms and conditions updated accordingly. We'll sign and agree to those terms and conditions, then authorize and book. Once we've booked, we get this thank you for your payment message, again, completely customizable underneath your confirmations templates. And if we head back to our group and refresh the page in any way, that drop-down menu that only had Jane's information on it previously is now going to have mine as well. That's because all of that information that I just filled out was neatly deposited into this group by itself. In my trip, you're now going to find links to the group booking registration form that I completed, the invoice that was created automatically, the signed authorization for that credit card authorization, and the payment info, which, by the way, your client's credit card details are going to live in their profile card underneath the payment info tab. So you can always show you the credit card, view those credit card details, and pay your suppliers. If you need access to some of these files, they are also available underneath the Trip Files tab. We have access to our form and our invoice here. So again, that is a ton of work that you no longer have to do because of the group booking pages. So if groups are your thing, highly recommend taking a group booking page out first then. Okay, so we just got through groups, creating our group, creating a group booking page, and what your client experiences when they book through a group booking page. Now let's talk a little bit about invoices. We're going to be switching over to Jane's original trip to the desert to demonstrate these next two because she didn't book through a group booking page, so we still need to manually create some invoices for her. We have two different invoice types here at TravelJoy, and you've already seen a sneak peek of it. We have supplier invoices or direct invoices. Now, supplier invoices allow us to collect those credit card details so that you can then access them and use them to pay your supplier. Whereas an invoice direct is going to allow you to charge your client's card right then and there in the moment when they input their card. And it's going to funnel those funds into what's called a trip funds balance, which you can see on my screen here. Think of this as a mini bank account where those funds are going to only be kept for that trip. And from there, you're going to be able to pay your suppliers via a virtual credit card or a wire, or you can withdraw your markup to your bank account. We're going to show you a supplier invoice first, and then we'll talk a little bit about invoice direct. So to create an invoice within a trip, we're going to head to the blue create button, and we're going to select invoice supplier. Now our invoices have three sections. We have our line items up here at the top, our payment schedule in the middle, and our settings at the bottom. Line items can be things like hotels. We can place our pricing in here. You can place a description if you'd like. If you click out of that line, it's going to save it in place, but if you'd like to edit it again, just click back into it. Then we're going to add, let's say, air. And we'll say 500 for air. And so on and so forth. Now, if you wanted to show these items as a package, you could do so using the Show as Package checkbox. This is going to hide the pricing for the individual items while still showing what's included, and then show it as a total package price here. Moving down to our payment schedule. We can have two choices here. So we have pay in full or we have deposit and final payment. Pretty straightforward. Both of these are going to allow you to put in the amount, the deposit due date, and the final payment due date, or just the final payment due date for the full payment if you need. But if you'd like to customize your payment schedule further, there is a blue edit button here, which is going to take you to that payment schedule. And you can use the add payment button to break up the payments however you'd like. Now, the biggest thing to note about this is that your payment schedule needs to match the total amount up here. So if we were to say something like $900, our system is going to keep track of that so that you are creating that payment schedule appropriately. So as you can see, it doesn't match what we have up here. So that's what this is keeping track of. But once you put in the correct amount, it's going to balance out here. We can change that due date if we want to, again, just by clicking into it and opening up those editing fields. And we can change the description and click out of it when we're done. So you can use the payment schedule to really break things up, customize things further for your clients. If we scroll on down, we have our settings section. We can see that our payment method is supplier. We can change the currency on supplier invoices only using this drop-down menu here. Give our invoice a name. Choose our client that we want associated with this invoice. So if you have multiple clients and they'd like separate invoices, a great way of ensuring that they have separate invoices is by assigning invoices to each client. Confirmation page, that'll be the thank you message that appears when your client completes their authorization. Confirmation email, if you'd like an email triggered once the client completes their authorization, you can choose an email template here. Your terms and conditions, and of course, pay travel insurance. All right, so once this invoice is all set up, we'll send it off to Jane using that blue next button and save and review email. We'll customize this email, make sure it looks nice, then use that blue send button and away it goes. Now we know that was successful because we're brought right back to our trip message feed, and we can see that here. And if Jane accesses her email address and refreshes the page, she's received the email to open the invoice. And this is what it'll look like. So a few trip details up here at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Those items that we added, the amount that's due today. Jane will be able to authorize the $900, the $1,100, or a different amount. Because I am a returning customer, meaning I do this webinar every single week, the system is smart enough to know, hey, you've been here before. Would you like to use a credit card you've used in the past? Your clients will also be given the option to add a new credit card. All I need to do, though, is put in my security code, and I can use a credit card that I've used previously. I can then sign and agree to my terms and conditions. And if I scroll down just a little bit further, I can see the payment schedule. So I have full awareness of what's coming up. At the top right-hand corner of the screen, I can authorize the payments, or I can do so down here at the bottom. Oh, that button doesn't seem to be working right now for me. Yep, I may have broken my own TravelJoy account. Let's try this one more time. Ah. Oh, it cleared it out. That's why. So let me go ahead and put that in. And sign and agree again. Let's try this one more time. There we go. So there's our thanks for our payment. We get that confirmation message. And if we head back to our account, you're going to receive an email letting you know that an authorization has been completed. But we'll also see that within our trip message feed. We'll see a link to the invoice, the signed authorization, and the payment info. And let's say we've accessed our payment info, we've paid our supplier, we want to show our client that a payment has been processed on their card. You're going to head to that invoice either by this link here or from the Trip Files tab. Select the invoice from underneath the Invoices category. And then we're going to head to the payment schedule. So you'll notice that this payment has been authorized. That status has changed. If you'd like to show that this payment has been made to your supplier, you can head over to the Mark as Paid button underneath the Actions column. Choose to send your client a receipt if you'd like, and mark as paid. So this way, for your records and for your clients, they can return to this invoice and see that status is paid, and that way they can expect that charge on their credit card. All right. Now let's switch over to direct invoices. Now, if you do not have the option to create direct invoices within your account, that's likely because you need to set up your direct payments. To do so, you'll head to the Settings tab on the left-hand side and head to Direct Payments. And as you can see, mine are already enabled, but these steps are going to take you through the process of connecting your bank account to TravelJoy. So that way we can do things like deposit commission when you sell something through our hotels, activities, and transfers, or when you want to withdraw your markup to your bank account. Once this is all enabled, you can head back to your trip, use the blue Create button, and select Invoice Direct. This is going to give you a little warning. Are you absolutely sure? Direct payments do come with processing fees, so we always like to give you a heads up. You'll say, yes, I'm sure. And from here, it's a very similar process. The only difference is down here at the bottom, we have a few more settings. So let's quickly build out the top of our invoice, and we'll just say this is hotel only. I'll say $900 for this hotel option. Click out of it to save. And then we have our payment schedule. We won't go into that since we already saw it on the last invoice, but it functions the same as the supplier invoice. And then under settings, we have our payment method is direct, meaning we are charging our client's credit card right then and there in the moment. We are funding to our trip funds balance. So again, that mini bank account associated to that trip or group, those funds are going to flow right into it and be kept there. Invoice name. We can accept credit or payments by either credit card or by bank transfer, or one or the other, totally up to you. The most important thing to note is that when using our trip funds feature, credit card payments are available instantly. So you'll be able to pay your supplier with a virtual credit card or wire, or start the withdrawal markup that takes about 2 business days to your bank account. Bank transfers can take anywhere from 5 to 10 business days. So if you have a very quickly approaching deadline with your supplier, I highly recommend changing this to suit your needs. You can allow for your client to pay a convenience fee, which will cover those processing fees. Just by checking that checkbox there, it'll add it to their invoice for you. You can allow for custom payments on direct invoices. You can indicate if this is your planning fee. Your client, again, you can select which client you'd like this invoice to be associated with. The thank you message that appears when your client completes their payment, confirmation email that you'd like triggered to your client's email once they complete their payment, the terms and conditions they'll agree to, and of course, offer pay travel insurance. All right. So because I do not have a credit card that will work for direct invoice,